Good morning, my renegades. Welcome back to Rogue Radio. My name is Sarah Jane, and today we're doing a Rogue News segment, so strap on your helmets, jump in the trenches with me, and let's cover some news. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, links on how to reach me will be down in the description below of this Anchor podcast and YouTube channel, or YouTube video, excuse me. Alright, see you there. First up, politics, of course, and I wanted to talk about something a little different, and I don't think it would be on OAN News, especially since right now it's currently old news. I just want to be able to cover it because we know we don't like this dude, Bill Gates, and his wife, questionably wife, I don't know if that's a woman, honestly. They divorced, so let's get into that. So this comes from independent.co.uk. I don't know if this is a, reliable source, but I tried my best not to, rely on New York Times or Wall Street or Fox or CNN. So, this is what we got. So, those close to the tech mogul knew about affairs, sources tell Matt. Okay. Alright, wait. Bill Gates has affairs. Look, I know the dude is famous, but how does he have an affair with that face? I want to know. Anyway. Bill and Melinda Gates' divorce could expose secrets from the couple's long marriage, according to the new report. The pair, who were married for almost 30 years and have already disclosed the extramarital affair took place within their relationship, announced their split last month. But Mr. Gates was also difficult to work with, and non-disclosure agreements were used to stop stories from coming out. One source who signed an NDA has now told Vanity Fair. I wanted to actually do Vanity Fair, but that's like an entertainment magazine. I want to be able to give you facts that are true enough. But anyway, Mr. Gates hasn't commented publicly on these claims, but The Independent understands he strongly denies suggestions of DNA or NDAs were used to silence detractors, and argues that every Microsoft employee signs an NDA. His ex-employee also told the magazine that there were times that Mr. Gates drove to the office in a Mercedes and left an hour later in a golden brown Porsche, and that a member of his security had brought. Well, we all assumed that it was when he was with women, they said. I knew there were many off-site meetings that were not on his calendar. even his employees were like, dude, he's a little, sex demon, okay. I don't know how I feel about this, to be honest. Have you seen his face? Who would have sex with that? I'm sorry. Listen, it's just my opinion, okay? If you want to go ahead and boink up Bill Gates, go ahead and do it. I'm just saying, he's a raisin. Anyway, someone close to Mr. Gates told Vanity Fair, he said that many people around the tech mogul knew about his affairs. A spokesperson for Bill Mr. Gates said, it is extremely disappointing that there have been so many untruths published about the cause, the circumstances, and the timeline of Bill Gates' divorce. They added, the rumors and speculation are becoming increasingly absurd, and it's unfortunate that people who have little to no knowledge of the situation are being characterized as sources. Okay. Earlier this year, after the couple announced their split, a spokesperson for Mr. Gates said the billionaire had an affair at Microsoft, the company he founded. Nearly 20 years ago, each ended amicably. So each affair that he had, he was just like, hey, I need to not do this anymore, so let's just go in peace? Is that what's going on? I'm just wondering who in the world would have sex with this dude. I'm sorry. Members of the Microsoft board investigated the affair after being told about a letter sent by a female employee in 2019. Claiming she and Mr. Gates, why is that a typo? She and Mr. Gates had a sexual relationship over the years. A spokesperson for Mr. Gates said the tech mogul's decision to transition off the board was in no way related to this matter. A Microsoft confirmed they received a concern in the latter half of 2019 that Mr. Gates sought to initiate an intimate relationship with the company employee in the year 2000. So he's been doing this for years. He's been doing this for a while. According to the New York Times, Mr. Gates pursued women who worked for him a few times when chair of Microsoft, including emailing an employee to ask her out for dinner. Oh, okay. Ew. No. Two sources also told Vanity Fair that Miss French Gates hired a private investigator before filing for divorce. A spokesperson for Mrs. French Gates said, this was completely false. Neither Melinda nor anyone at her direction ever hired a private investigator, they said. The couple announced they were separating earlier this month after marriage spanning nearly 3 decades. The philanthropists said they no longer believe we can grow together as a couple. In the next stage of their lives, in statements posted on social media. Here's what I think happened, okay? This is what I think happened. Not only was the affair a thing, okay? I think Mr. Bill Gates got a little too big for his pants, and was like, hey, babe, I had an affair, and you're also going to be depopulated. Like, can you imagine, that was his plan all along, to be like, listen, I could get somebody better because you're gonna be in the depopulation process too. So, yeah, good luck with that. That's how I feel like that conversation went down. Like, oh, I don't care about you. Like, you're gonna be one of that. You're gonna be that percent that gets depopulated. You're gonna be that percent that dies. Like, yeah, I don't like you, but I hope not. I don't. I to be honest, this is I'm just trying to make a joke out of it, honestly. But listen, this is a man who believes in depopulation. This is a man who thinks that only 1 million people should live on the earth. like 1/3 of the people in the world should die. That's what his mentality is. That's what he believes should happen. But let's keep going. Oh no, I lost my place. Thanks, Independent. Alright. Oh no. Is it that short? Hang on. I lost my place. It went all the way back to the top and I scrolled all the way back down. So. Yeah, Mr. Gates and Mrs. French Gates met in the 1980s at Microsoft. The tech giant Mr. Gates co-founded when Mrs. French Gates worked there as a product manager. So she was one of the people that you were flirting with at the company. I see. So now he's just trying to find a newer, sweeter slice, I guess. Like, that's not nice. Bro, why you gotta do her like that? I'm sorry. In all honesty, I know I'm making a joke about it. Clearly, I don't like Bill Gates. He does believe in depopulation. He was behind the production of the vaccine. So, yeah, I don't like Bill Gates. He's a creep, and he's nasty, and I don't see how anybody can stomach having sex with the dude. But, yeah, no, I know this is a serious matter, don't worry about it. I know divorce is terrible, and affairs are terrible. I don't believe any husband should ever have an affair with somebody else other than their wife, but then again, that would just be marriage, you know what I mean? I believe in a holy marriage. You shouldn't have an affair with anybody. But, you know, that's gonna happen. I mean, I'm still kind of flabbergasted. No, never mind. I know who would have sex with him. I found somebody just as corrupt as he is. Just calling it out, guys. Just calling it out, okay? Bill Gates and Kamala Harris affair. I see it already, okay? They do say that, oh, it happened on the job, okay, but is it true, though? Yeah, no, it's gonna happen, either it's gonna happen, or it already happened, and they're trying to cover it up with him being like, oh no, I have affairs with people on the job, but, did Kamala meet you at the job? Huh? Not sorry. So this next one kind of upset me just because, just like Joe Biden kind of like shut off the, what is it? I forget. Basically, America and Canada were in agreement that they would get the oil from, you know, Canada. So now, Joe Biden has decided to surrender protections for U.S. steel and aluminum. So, like, all of our sources are just not being protected anymore. So yeah, Joe Biden is expected to reverse U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminum imports that were put in place by Trump administration. Bloomberg has reported that Biden will commit to lifting the tariffs during his meeting with European leaders next week. President Trump enacted the tariffs to stop U.S. dependence on foreign metals, which a government review found would be a national security threat. It was of great concern that becoming dependent on imported steel and aluminum would enable other countries to use their metal protection to regulate the U.S. policy. Joe Biden, Senator of the First, and the First Lady Jill Biden are escorted by Colonel Edward Bolitho, Lord Lieutenant of Cornwall Wright, as they arrive on the Air Force at Cornwall Airport, Newquay, near Newquay, England, ahead of the G7 summit. The European Union opposed many of the U.S. tariffs enacted by Trump administration, which has led many to expect their push for Biden to agree to relieve them. Meanwhile, U.S. steel industry groups have urged Biden not to stop the tariffs that have been credited for creating thousands of jobs. A recent report by the left-leaning Economic Policy Institute shows that the tariffs led to increased output, employment, and capital investment by domestic manufacturers. So yeah, it's a short article, but it's something that I wanted to talk about. America has always traded and has always tried to get good resources for like production of things like gas or oil or metals. It's just something that has been going on for decades and years and years and years. And I don't feel like Joe Biden should stick his hand in that, because thousands of jobs are going to be lost. I know he don't care about that. Production is going to go lower than normal. And a lot of people are going to be out of job. I mean, I feel like his plan is just to be like, to get the American people so lazy with stimulus checks to the point where they're more controllable to get the vaccine. That's just what I believe. So all of this backdoor stuff, like with this shutting down, with the surrendering the metals protection and all that, it all just stems from a bigger plan for the American people to be more controllable. If you lose your job, you can't pay for food, you can't provide for your family. So that's why a lot of people are going to stimulus checks and unemployment. And then they get into this slump where, okay, I don't have to work for my stuff anymore. I don't have to work in order to provide for my family anymore. And it's not just that. I mean, to be honest, the American people have been pretty lazy lately because of the stimulus checks. There are single people out there that just refuse to get a job because of the stimulus checks. And that's what I believe Kamala Harris and Joe Biden want us to do, is to keep taking and taking and taking until, it rears its ugly head and is like, hey, listen, we control you now. Because not only are you going to be taxed next year for all of the stimulus checks that you have received, all right, we are also they're going to try to do something to the point where we can't say no to their plan. That's just what I believe is going to happen, unfortunately. And the people who are brave enough, like the patriots that are out there and that are listening, they're not gonna bow down to that. So honestly, if you want to see a good change, become a patriot and start educating yourself, because this is going to happen more often now. Because Joe Biden does not care about America. Either he's too stupid to care, or he literally does not care. Or he's just a puppet that Kamala Harris likes to control. Either way, keep your eyes open, people, because this is just a small little thing that leads to a bigger thing. Renegades, guess what? Guess what, guys? We got some news from our true president, Donald Trump. So let's read it. President Trump hosts fundraiser for GOP chair Rep. Elise Stefanik. Alright, let's see. President Trump hosted a fundraiser Wednesday evening for newly tapped conference chair Rep. Elise Stefanik, or Republican for New York. Stefanik made an announcement on Twitter while on her way to the event. Stefanik, a longtime supporter of Trump, has been commended by the president, for being incredibly loyal to his movement. In her tweet, she said, "Republicans and the American people have never been more excited to defeat the far left and save our country." Aww. And then Elise Stefanik has a picture of her and Trump, and she says, "One team, save America." Yeah, I like this news. The fundraiser took place at President Trump's New Jersey golf course before the event began. Trump and Stefanik reportedly met to discuss GOP strategy to reclaim the House in 2022. Oh, yes! Oh, he ain't even waiting for 2024. He's waiting for the next year. Because at some point, maybe he knows something. Maybe he knows something that, like, Joe Biden is going to be impeached at some point because he's doing so bad. Oh my God, yes. Do it, Trump. Do it, Trump. Please. The fundraiser was said to begin with a round table with donors, followed by a speech from Trump. Stefanik recently revealed her joint fundraising committee had already raised $250,000 ahead of the next year's midterms. I love that our president, our true president, is still working to defeat the far left and trying to reclaim the Oval Office, because he did win. He won. Rogue Radio will be right back after this message. Sit tight. You want to know how I make some unique podcasts? If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. For one, it's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, and they're easy to use. Anchor will distribute your podcast for free so that it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download your free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's really fun. Come and join the Renegade family, all right? Okay, next up is just regular news. I know most of the time I try to put in some positive stuff. Maybe at some point I'll be able to find something that is a little positive, but I try to keep it as real as possible with this middle segment of Rogue News. So there is one that I want to talk about, so let's just read it. It does say in the First Amendment that the government shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the rights of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Now, that was the First Amendment of the Constitution. That is word for word You are not supposed to riot in the streets. I understand someone died. Yeah, get mad, get upset. But there is a way of going about it. There is a way of going about this. We got mad over George Floyd. Rightfully so. I'm not going to say you shouldn't be mad about, police brutality, because it does happen. It does happen. The one thing that I don't like is that right now, there are a lot of people that box in good cops that risk their lives every day to save your life with the brutal police that don't care about you. Yes, I do acknowledge that there are police out there that do not care about your life. They would rather show you their badge and beat you up with a nightstick. There are some cops out there like that. But we also have to realize that making the majority of the cops in America, making them all bad. I remember seeing somebody on TikTok say all cops are bastards, and anybody who says anything different will be blocked. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to say what I need to say. You can block me if you want to. Not all cops are bad. Okay? I know that triggers some people, but listen, it happens. Just like there are murderers out there who murder good people. Okay? There are good people and there are bad people. Just like there are good cops and there are bad cops. There are good people in the Black Lives Matter movement that refuse, to be violent. They don't want to riot. I haven't really seen much of that evidence. But in order for something to happen so violently, there also has to be another side that is also peaceful. I don't hate the Black Lives Matter movement, but I do understand that the majority of the Black Lives Matter movement is violent, and portrayed like that in the press. And if you're a part of it, I don't care. I don't care what group that you are in order to protest something, as long as you're doing it peacefully, because if you do it violently, there's only going to be more violence that follows that. I don't believe that people understand how powerful they are when they react in such a passionate way or a violent way, because there are going to be people that will follow your example. You don't know how many people watch you. You have no idea how many people look to your example, whether you be in the government, whether you be in the Black Lives Matter movement or in Antifa. There's always going to be someone that watches you and says, okay, that's awesome, I'm going to do it. You make a bad choice, they're still going to think that it's okay, because of course it's like mob mentality, I guess. I don't want to say that, but it's sort of the same way. You don't understand how powerful you are until you do something stupid. And then there's people that will follow suit. So when I say that, you should protest peacefully, I really do mean it. Because the fact that so many police officers are being hurt, are being beaten because of all of this, it's not okay. It isn't. I don't believe that anybody who is African American should be killed. Okay? No, I don't believe that. I don't. Here's my theology now. Here's where my theology just comes in, okay? I don't believe anybody should be hurt for no reason. I don't believe that somebody, let's say a scenario. Let's just talk about a scenario. Kid has, a rosary in his hoodie, and he walks by a cop. This kid looks suspicious, and he says, "What's in your pocket?" He pulls it out. He gets shot before he's able to pull out his rosary. You know what I mean? Like, at least understand that not all African American people were brought up in a terrible neighborhood. And I'm not trying to make assumptions of that. That's just what I believe that a lot of bad cops assume about African American people, is that they're all gonna I don't even like saying the assumptions, because it just doesn't sound right coming out of my mouth. It just doesn't, because I don't like assumptions. You got to get to know the person. You got to understand where they come from. You got to understand why people do certain things that they do. But you also have to understand that not all cops are going to shoot without asking questions. There are cops that I have met that are very, very nice, and they care so much about people. And I cannot imagine something happening to them. And you do have to realize that just because there is so much hatred and there is so much going on with police brutality and, just American brutality, people are being brutal against cops. You have to realize that both sides have to understand that not every cop is bad. Not every person is bad. A lot of people get triggered over that. A lot of people get really pissed over that. But it's the truth. You can't just group everybody into one clump and call them bad. That's called racism. You get what I mean? You understand what's going on? Just because it's not called racism doesn't mean that it's not. And that's for the bad cops. All right? And that's for the people that are protesting violently. That's for both of you. I have seen videos of the Antifa just being very violent. I want to circle back to Antifa just because I want to, because people who don't realize what Antifa is, I'm going to explain. You all know already that I don't like Antifa, that I don't like Democrats that are easily triggered and will cry if they're called the wrong thing, or people who are easily offended are just people that I just want to really offend purposefully, honestly. Just because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. You can't just go along in life expecting not to be offended. It's not realistic. But anyway, Antifa is a left-wing, anti-fascist, anti-racist political movement in the United States. It is highly decentralized and comprises an array of autonomous groups that aim to achieve their objectives through the use of both nonviolent and violent protests. Well then, there you go. I remember seeing a video on Sean Fouch. Sean Fouch is a minister. I want to say he's like a street missionary almost, but he holds worship services in certain places. He goes everywhere around the United States and just kind of rallies worship services everywhere. And I remember he was in California, and I saw this on his Facebook page. And Antifa showed up. The worship band that they had, the people that were, setting up, they had their drums, they had their guitars, they were worshiping God and everything. Antifa came in and started throwing their drums over and started just ruining a lot of equipment that they were using, and all they were doing was praising God. They did not have any political affiliation. They didn't have any problem with anybody. They did approach everyone with love. Even before that, I feel like the night before, there was a video also that was just so many people who heard about what was going on in California, and there were so many people trying to protest against just a small worship service that Sean Fauci decided to organize. And there was, I just remember seeing videos, like countless videos, over and over and over again, of like, there were people that were in a truck that were trying to drown out the worship noise in the street, because Sean Fauci just decided to, hey, listen, we're going to have a worship service right here, because this is where a lot of the persecution was happening in the street. They were there to help give out food to the poor over there as well. And there were so many people that just refused their help. There were so many people that had megaphones, was like, put on a mask, and they said that repeatedly. And I'm not saying that California isn't a good place to go to. Of course not. I'm just saying the people there, I feel, have been so wounded spiritually, physically, and mentally that even the smallest worship service has become so offensive to people. But yeah, no, Antifa did show up, and they decided, like, hey, listen, we don't like what you're doing, so, yeah, we're gonna turn over your drums and try to keep you from speaking or worshiping. And I don't know, I find that very prejudiced. I find that very prejudiced, just because we're supposed to be a people who tolerate others in America. Nowadays, there's so many people that believe that white people are racist just because they're white. There's so many people out there that will get offended just because they don't call you the right pronouns. You can't expect everybody to call you the right pronouns. Unfortunately, that happens. Okay? I'm not saying that you shouldn't be called the right pronouns. I'm saying don't expect everyone to know your gender or who you believe that you are, like, right off the bat. Don't get offended by that, okay? Don't get offended by that stuff. There's so much that I could unpack. There's so much that I could say about the left and how much I believe that the people that I'm talking about, like Antifa and the people who are just completely and easily sensitive to the opinions of other people and the expression of religion and expression of politics, people have become so upset over all of it and overly sensitive and just easily offended. Where has the backbone of Americans gone? Like, we were people that back in the day, if someone said anything offensive, you were able to take care of it right away. I mean, in my neighborhood, we were just able to take care of things. Not in a violent way, but just like to talk it out. Like, if my family had a problem with the neighbor, we were able to talk it out instead of just saying, oh, I'm offended that, you said this to my kid because of something. I don't know. Like, nowadays, it's just become so awful. Like, people really are so offended to the point where I suspect that they're just looking for someone to offend them in the slightest way. And that's not a good way to live. It's not. It's not a good way to live. And I know I'm talking just because I'm talking from like a protest in Portland, Oregon, but this is happening. People are getting violent because of violent acts being put on somebody else. How is that going to help anything? Can you please tell me that? How is violence going to stop violence? Antifa, how is violence going to stop violence? How is you getting arrested and being charged for assault going to stop violence? You just got charged for being violent in the name of trying to stop violence. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry to cut the podcast so short, but Anchor is starting to upset me. I have recorded 2 sessions of me reading some 2 great articles, and they did not record any of it. So I'm just gonna go on with my day today without getting upset. So have a good day. I will see you in the trenches next time. I'm really sorry for a short Rogue News segment. Trust me, I'll do my best next time. See you guys later. Have a good day.